I don't play Arc Raiders, but I watch my friends play it, and there's a little something that caught my eye. And it's that little UI animation. Not only just the scanning, but also that little border animation. And I kind of want to recreate it. Now I do have access to professional tools where I could do this in like a couple of minutes. It's nothing too complicated. But since most of my viewers are live streamers, people who use software like OBS Studio, I like to push the boundaries a little bit and show you how to do it with, well, what you already have. So let's get to step one, which is look. And if you ever found yourself wondering, how do you do this? How do you do that? My answer is always like, look at it. Just look at it. What are we seeing right now? Let's start very simple. What are the colors? We see white, cyan, or teal, and then we see purple. Do those colors blend in together? I'm sorry, like I'm doing like basic 101 graphic design or just like using your eyeballs lesson here because I think it's important. How do those colors blend together? We see white kind of fades into cyan, and then cyan fades into the purple, right? The purple is kind of a dark purple-ish. Okay, so we're here in OBS Studio and we know that we need to bring in some colors. How do we bring colors into OBS Studio? By adding color sources. We're gonna click on the plus to add a new source. We're gonna find color source. We're gonna name this one purple and it'll be our purple. Then we can choose the color. Let's bring it down a little bit, so not too bright. Click OK. And ideally we want kind of thinner lines. So for the height here, I might go with 600, maybe more, 800, something like that. That looks fine. And let's right click on that purple. Click copy to copy it, right click, click duplicate to create another one that's the same, but not the same. Then right there, we can select the color immediately and pick our teal, our cyan, bring that up. And we remember that the last one was white. So I'm gonna paste duplicate again. This time I'm gonna double click to select the color, make sure it's white. And we remember that the white part was like a little bit bigger, so we're gonna go with 1200, for example. Everything was actually blending into each other. We're gonna achieve that by using the advanced mask plugin. So while I have the white selected here, also you should absolutely name your sources. I'm gonna go to filters, and the advanced mask plugin is a plugin, so something separate from OBS Studio that you need to download, install, and then restart OBS. I'm gonna add that in my filters, and you can see it created something weird here. I'm gonna scroll down immediately to what is interesting to me, which is the feathering. I'm gonna set that to inner, okay? And we're gonna bump it up quite a bit, but not too much, okay? And then from there, all we need is to set the width to take the full thing. And yeah, we can adjust it while we're doing this to make sure that it blends into our teal / cyan or whatever. And that looks pretty good. Since we only have one filter here, what we can do is right click on our source that has that filter, click copy filters, and right click on our teal and paste filters. Boom. Now, since it wasn't the exact same size, you can see that it's not having the exact effect. I'm gonna bring this down, go to filters and adjust that. I can play with the feathering and I can see that, okay, it's only feathering the top part, not the bottom part. So I can just move it. If I scroll up a little bit and I go to center Y, I can move it. And there you go. I'm gonna keep it centered on the layer itself and bring that up a little bit so it blends into the white. Now I can right click on this one, copy filters, right click on the purple, and paste filters. Nice and complete. We can select everything by holding shift, clicking on all of them, right clicking, group selected items, and call the group whatever you want. Okay, so already just by observing, we were able to recreate something that we saw in OBS Studio. I'm proud of you. All right, now we just need to make the animation, right? So in the animation, I'm gonna click on the top here to rotate the whole group. It basically comes from the bottom right, goes up, slows down a little bit, and then flies out, right? So I'm gonna make sure, now I need this to be huge to be able to cover the whole canvas. So I'm gonna right click, go to preview scaling, set that to canvas. So now I can hold spacebar and scroll to be able to manage stuff outside of the main canvas, all right? So I'm gonna make this huge and then basically simulate the coming up, slowing down, and then flying out. And we can see that it covers the whole screen and that's perfect. So I'm going to preemptively set it around here because I know that's going to be our first position. Now, how do you move stuff in OBS Studio? How do you animate stuff? You use the Move plugin, which if you have installed, will give you a bunch of filters. Now, I can collapse the group and we're actually gonna add the filters to the scene itself. I'm gonna right click, filters, and I'm going to add a Move Source filter. And this one will be our first position. So I'll call it position 1. The source will be the name of my group. The duration for the first position, since this is out of frame, is actually 0 because this is our reset position. We want it to instantly go to it. And then from there, I can scroll down and click Get Transform to record the position. Okay. From there, I can duplicate this. And here we'll have position 2. Okay. Same source, except this time the custom duration should be the duration between position 1, that middle part where it kind of slows down or whatever. And I'm actually going to set this to 3 seconds. So 3000 milliseconds. And now I need to manually move my source to said position. So if it's coming in, I want it to be like this. So I can bring this back in and click Get Transform. Nice. So now I have 2 positions. I can even test them by just clicking on the boom, it flies there. And boom, it flies there. I messed up and put the end delay as 3 milliseconds. This is the type of issues that you're going to run into. If you type in the wrong box, you can have that issue. So custom duration is 3000 milliseconds, not end delay. All right. So now we can boom, and it's going to slowly fly in. We want it to stop here and then fly out. Okay, cool. Now let's do the fly out. Very simple. Right click, duplicate this one. This one is position 3. Nice. And then bring it up all the way out of frame. Maybe we want this one to be a little faster, 2500 milliseconds. And don't forget to record the position by clicking Get Transform. Nice. So position 1 will be here. Position 2 will be there. Okay. And position 3 will be right outside of the frame. Now, how do we automate this? Well, on position 1, we can scroll all the way down and tell it what to do next. So next move will be position 2. On position 2, select that, scroll down, next move, position 3, okay? Now in position 3, there's nothing left to do except reset. So we can set that back to position 1, and it's going to play in the loop. Now I can do this and observe just like that. Ideally, I don't want it to stop. I want it to slow down a little bit, but we're gonna keep it very simple and just go with this, okay? And that's how you can do this type of animation in just a couple minutes in OBS Studio. Now, something is missing here. You might be thinking, hey, this has nothing to do with the actual UI in the game. It was like a border for the inventory. How can I make that happen? Well, now that you have your animation in its own scene, you can, let's make another scene to make it easy. Either bring this as a scene itself or clone, do a source clone, which is another plugin, source clone for OBS. Type that in Google. I'm gonna call this one Arc Clone. And we're gonna bring this in. The clone type is a source. The canvas is main. The clone is scene 3, as you can see here, and it's transparent, which is kind of cool. If you want it, you can always put like a black background if you want. And the same advanced mask plugin that we used to create those feathered lines, we can use that to create any shape we want, okay? I know on Twitter, people were asking me, what can this be used for? Because like in the game, it's for the inventory, but what can we use it for? It can be a camera border. It can be a banner. It can be used for an outline. It can be the lower thirds or the little tag names. If you have a podcast, if you have guests in your stream, it can be anything. It's just a graphic element. It's a little visual pep. Okay, so I was saying, right click on it, click filters. Let's add the advanced mask. We want the general shape. We can probably go for something that looks more like the actual inventory thing. So I can make this wide. And I just realized I'm zoomed in and you guys can't see anything. Let me bring it. Sorry, I added an advanced mask, play with the height and the width, and then the corner radius is right there. And this is what we're gonna play with. There you go, very simple. Then I'm gonna duplicate that advanced mask, duplicate it. Okay, and on the second one, I'm going to click invert mask. And then nothing happens. And all we have to do now is reduce the height and the weight to kind of determine the thickness of the borders, right? So I'm gonna hover over this and I'm gonna scroll down with my mouse. And we're gonna see it appearing. There we go, same thing for the height. Of course, the values should be the exact same if you're doing a perfect square, but we're just eyeballing for now. All right, so if you want it super thin, it can be like that. And this is kind of resembling what's actually in the game. But if you want it super, super, super thick, you can also make that happen, right? Also, it doesn't have to be centered. So if you want it to be on the side, for example, and for some reason have that shape instead, you can have any shape you want. If your like webcam is a circle and you want like a circular animation for it, so advanced mask, again, except this time shape is going to be circle. Radius, we're gonna kind of fill the screen with it without going past, something like that. Now we can duplicate it and invert the mask And then from there, just lower the radius to have the thickness of your borders. And there you have it. Now, again, I can understand not wanting to have that as an element, like maybe not a webcam border because maybe too distracting, right? But it can be a cool thing around your alert. You just make it like the shape of your alert and then have like super simplistic arc raiders themed alerts. Now, something else that I want you to know is that you don't need to have this whole animation thing going on inside of OBS at all times, especially if you don't want to have like an extra scene and all that stuff. You can just record this, right? When the screen is black, like right now you can press record and then wait for the animation to come in and then fly out and then stop recording there. And then you have yourself a looping animation as if you made this in like in a software like Adobe After Effects or something like that. Then you can reuse it inside of OBS as a media source. Just put it on the loop. If it has a black background, just set the blending mode to add and you got it. For example, I wanted to make it an animation for my Stream Deck. And as you can see, yeah, like this is from OBS Studio. I turned them into GIFs using Adobe Express, but there's probably other places that you can turn them into GIFs. I made an animation in OBS Studio and then turned them into a Stream Deck button. So here's an example of like the name tag. All I did was make like a thin rectangle and then add my corner radius, all types of cool effects that you can do. You can probably make like some sort of moon shape. Anyways, if you spend time, you can make it look exactly how you want it to look. Yes, this is something that you can do in 2 seconds in Adobe After Effects or any other editing software. If you have access to those software, that's great. That's amazing. I'm so happy for you. But I make videos mostly for live streamers and most of my viewers don't. So hopefully you can understand that. Look at that. We even have the squircle shape integrated. And of course you can pair this with a bunch of other filters. With any other filters, you can change whatever color. It doesn't have to be this color. Yeah, I encourage you to just mess around with it and, you know, find all the possibilities and see what OBS can actually do. It is a broadcasting software, but if you really want to, you know, quickly do something without having to learn a brand new software or pay for an expensive software, it is capable. That's all.